Aristotle and many of his contemporaries believed that citizens of a democracy should study and practice rhetoric. In his text on rhetoric, Aristotle notes four key advantages of studying the practical art of rhetoric. Rhetoric, he says, will help us perceive the difference between truth and falsehood. It will help us understand how people are moved to action. It will help us see both sides of an issue. And it will help us defend ourselves against the arguments of others. But Greece was not always a democracy, and rhetoric was not seriously studied or even invented until there was a need for it. So let's look at how the need for rhetoric developed over time. From 3000 BC to 850 BC, kings ruled the lands of Greece, and were thought to be the descendants of God, mainly Zeus. The problem with monarchy, though, is that kings would only mete out justice as it served their interests. But between 850 BC and 650 BC, Greek society became more complex and culturally diverse, and the population was growing. So councils emerged to administer the daily activities of the people, and the king often deferred to the council in civic matters. Eventually, monarchies failed and oligarchies formed. Oligarchies are either powerful families or groups of powerful individuals who seize control of the city by extracting power from the king. But there is a big problem. These forms of government served predominantly the economic needs of those in power. The people weren't happy. In response to the distrust of oligarchies, tyrannies formed, which were not much better form of government. In a tyranny, one powerful person rules with the support of the military. Eventually, the people of Greece began to demand that their desires for freedom, justice, peace, and community be met. Democracy became a form of government capable of ensuring domestic tranquility through victory on the battlefield, but it also became a mode of associated living among people. The people worked together to form laws and magistrates. Judges served as keepers of justice, and generally people had a say in the governing of the city-state. And this is when rhetoric became important. In a democracy, citizens can engage in conversations and debates about how to govern. They can run for office and propose or oppose laws. To be successful, they must speak persuasively. So rhetoric was used in these important matters. Rhetoric is often defined as a study, theory, and practice of communication, and the ancient Greeks learned to use rhetoric during public speaking. Young boys were educated in rhetoric so that they could eventually become persuasive political speakers who could speak on matters most important to society. Several key scholars, teachers, and philosophers played key roles in educating the youth, including the Sophists, Aristotle, Plato, and Isocrates. They all had competing theories and ways of educating their students, but they mostly agreed that rhetoric is an artistic understanding and that a successful rhetor must understand the how, the what, the when, and the purpose of communication. Now that you know a bit about the origins of rhetoric in ancient Greece, consider this. Why do we still study rhetoric today? What might be the uses of rhetoric? How do you and might you use rhetoric in your lives today and in the future?